And today I want to share something which I recently heard about living with an alpha personality without losing yourself. I recently listened to a podcast where Rajiv Talija and Raj Shamani were talking about how small the business actually work. It is practical, it was real, it was refreshing. And somewhere in that conversation, they casually mentioned about something interesting. They spoke about alpha personality, about the people who live with alpha personalities. That one line stayed with me because many of us don't struggle with a lack of love. We don't struggle with a lack of comfort as well. We struggle how this space is distributed inside a relationship. Not because someone is bad, but because someone naturally carries more presence, more certainty, more command, and slowly, without any argument, without any drama, the other person start adjusting. Not disappearing, but just become quieter. So, what is alpha personality? Let's clear something first. Alpha personality does not need to mean arrogance. It's not mean dominance. Not means man of the house. Alpha personality can be a woman, a partner, a man, a leader, even a parent can have alpha energy as well. A person who decides fast, speak with conviction, and carry emotional authority, take charge naturally, is rarely doubting themselves publicly. They don't always have to intend to overpower, they just move forward strongly, and the world often rewards that. And that's we call as alpha personality. So another question, is alpha personality only the men of the house? No, that's a social misunderstanding. Many homes today also have alpha women, financially independent partners, emotionally decisive individuals. Power doesn't come from the gender anymore. It comes from certainty. Whoever sounds more certain is seen as stronger, even if both are equally capable. And that's where the imbalance begins. What are the silent challenges of living with an alpha partner? Want to think about it more. Now listen carefully. This is not about the blame, this is about the impact. When one person carries strong authority and the other person may slowly begin to wait before speaking, rephrase their opinions to avoid unnecessary discussions, doubt their instinct and say it's okay, even when they are not willing to do that. Not because they are weak, but because peace start feeling safer than expressing yourself. They don't feel suppressed, they feel unnecessary to push back. They don't feel controlled, but they feel it's easier to agree rather than just moving forward with whatever I say or they say it's okay. They don't feel small. They feel their voice may disturb the harmony. So let's go with what the alpha person is saying. And over time, a very capable person start operating on a permission instead of presence. That is the real cost. So, what happens over here emotionally to the other person? The person doesn't lose their confidence outside. They function brilliantly at work. They handle the responsibilities. They are strong. But inside a relationship, they start feeling emotionally careful, overly accommodating, and unsure where to insist, hesitant to lead. They start living beside the power, not with the power. And that breaks the relationship emotionally. It slows down and it distances the self. You still love that person, but you stop fully feeling seen. What the coaching do about this? A coach doesn't come to tell you leave that relationship or fight back or become loud or prove anything. That is not growth. That is just a reaction. It's not something that happens in coaching. A coach helps you do something which is very deep. They help you to reconnect with your internal authority, which you chose to settle down because of the other person. You don't have to minimize yourself, and that is something where you can rebuild your grounded confidence rather than becoming aggressive. You can anchor yourself with your own power. You don't have to challenge the power, but you have to develop your own in a certain way where you can balance the power balance. So, how do we live without losing ourselves with that power dynamics? You don't have to compete with the alpha personality. You don't need to overpower them. They are good. You are also loving them the way they are. You need to occupy your space fully. And this is something that we forget because we keep feeling like we have to be apologetic and we don't have to make the disturbance accordingly. And this is something that gradually comes. So we just want to make your presence felt, not announced or declared like I am also this and I am also that. No. It's simply to engage a harmonious relationship. You don't need to become a louder person for that matter. You just don't have to shrink yourself while living in with the other person. And this usually happens because what happens is whenever you are in a marriage or a relationship, or even with parents who are this kind of person, since childhood, you have not been understood that. Now, this is also a time where you are bringing yourself in. You only have declared your persona somewhere. You also try to understand how does it work. And at the same time, the other person is also thinking, I'm like this only. I'm always like this. Now you want to change that scenario and you don't know how to change that. You have accepted that these people have already been like this for 20, 30 years or 15 years, and I cannot change them. And I have to be like this. And this is also a major reason why the other person struggles to gain the power in relationship. However, that is not about power. That is about the habit or the tendency through which love started connecting, and gradually didn't even realize that you have started shrinking yourself. That's exchange of power dynamics, which is not exactly power dynamics, but a status of relationship. And while we do that, we try to seek help from others, we try to build our own world, but we also beat ourselves on the situations where we don't want to create that situation. But yet, it was created because we were more empathetic and more patient in the relationship. And the other person started taking for granted us. So it's not only about the alpha personalities, but all the people who are excelling in their work. However, that other supportive person is giving more than what they are doing outside. They are holding their inner strength, they are holding their steadiness. But these people are so rushing into what the competitiveness is, how the work is victorious to them, that they don't even know how to take care of the other person while they are excelling in whatever they are doing. This is a genuine problem, and this is something which I have even discussed with my clients a lot, where they are also at very high position, but while both the partners are working, one person is little bit more strong in their opinions as compared to the other. It doesn't mean the other person is resisted or submissive. It is just to maintain the balance, one have to sacrifice as compared to the other. Gradually, the same thing I have seen with the parents and children, because we as an Asian parent are called tiger parents, where we try to dominate the conversation because we consider our children are not well grown to take their own decisions. And this also makes the other person little bit skeptical whether they have to continue living with them or they have to find their own way. However, that is everybody's personal choice, but it should not matter how the other person is taken care of. So if you are one of those people who have been with the tiger parents, where the people are really struggling while taking decisions, they can be agreed all the time, but you don't have to shrink yourself just because the other person is strongly sharing their opinion. And how to do that is something a 3 week session with coach would help you to bring back your power and your natural nature, through which you were proceeding ahead with the beautiful relationships along with anyone, whoever, at your workplace, in your family, in your relationships, or anywhere you want to seek that normal life. So, what are you waiting for? If you are interested, you can just put a comment and DM me clarity, and I'll get over a clarity call with you. And let's discuss about it. If you want to know more, just follow me and I'll post more videos like this.